Well, the numbers tell a story of their own. Workers' Day is just around the corner and nearly 1 out of 3 people are unemployed. We need jobs, but before that, we need businesses. The key question, how do we empower people to start a business? Michael Marillier tracking the numbers for us. He joins us now live. So, Mike, business needs workers, but workers also need business, right? Fair to say it's not always easy doing business in South Africa, though.
Yeah, that's right, Shahan, and that's why government has said that it's time for a reboot in terms of the way that we actually operate as a country. Several reforms that President Ramaphosa has called for, some of them involve actually making it easier to start a business and easier to do business as a whole. But let's focus on some of the numbers, the so-called reboot that President Ramaphosa is calling for. I'm going to just give you some context in terms of where we are as an economy right now, Shahan. And I'm going to take you back to Q2 of 2019, so almost 2 years ago. We added around about 20,000 jobs. The following quarter, 60,000. The quarter after that, about 40,000. The key point here, Shahan, is that although we were adding jobs and the numbers might sound relatively okay, they're really a drop in the ocean. And then when we got to 2020, we really started losing jobs in a big way. 40,000 in the first quarter, and then the big one, as you can see right there, Shahan, more than 2 million jobs during that hard lockdown in Q2 of 2020. Thankfully, Shahan, we did make a little bit of a recovery, around about 500,000 jobs added in the third quarter, and then about 330,000 in the fourth quarter of last year. But the key takeaway from this, Shahan, is that the crisis is about much more than just the virus. We have been struggling to grow this economy and struggling to create jobs for a very long time. In fact, 1.3 million jobs effectively over the last 2 years have been lost in this country. So, as we were speaking about new ideas and reforms, one of them is making it easier to do business. So let's focus on our performance in that respect. The Doing Business Survey, it's a global survey, Shahan. This one was conducted in 2019, released in 2020, and it ranks countries in terms of the logistics, the admin, the red tape involved in running a business. South Africa not doing particularly well. A ranking of 84 with a score of 67 out of 100. And as our camera zooms out slightly, you'll see New Zealand. I'm referencing New Zealand because it was the top performer in the survey, Shahan, getting a score of 87 out of 100, and that puts it in #1 place. So clearly, Shahan, we've got a big gap to fill between 67 points, our score, and the top performer's score, which was 87.
Yeah, definitely. And we have a long way to go before we actually get this right, don't we? So you said the economy needs a reboot. That means new ideas and new businesses. Talk to us about the rankings when it comes to starting a business.
Exactly. So this survey also focuses on some of the procedures and time involved in actually starting a business. The ranking for South Africa, Shahan, 139 in the world. Remember, there were 190 countries in the survey, so really in the bottom half when it comes to starting a business. How many procedures involved in starting a business in South Africa? In 2019, Shahan, it took 7 procedures in South Africa, just 1 procedure in New Zealand. Basically, you just went onto a website and filled out a few forms. In terms of time, Shahan, we've got 40 battery icons on our screen. Believe it or not, the average was 40 days to start a business in South Africa. In New Zealand, it was less than 1 day. In fact, it was just half a day. But, Shahan, there's a silver lining for you on this Friday afternoon. Let's focus very quickly on the Biz portal. This was set up in November 2019, Shahan, by President Cyril Ramaphosa. Basically a one-stop shop where South Africans can go to do all sorts of things. Register the company, register for UIF, register for tax, put their workers on the compensation fund, start business banking accounts, start websites under their own domain names, all sorts of things. Government is hoping, Shahan, that this will make a difference and encourage South Africans to start those businesses and hopefully create jobs.